Clear thinking, how to make better decisions in a complex world. Introduction. We face decisions every day. Some are small, what to have for breakfast, which route to take to work. Others are monumental, career shifts, life-changing relationships, or the pursuit of long-term goals. In a world where each choice carries weight, the ability to make clear, well-thought-out decisions is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. But how often do we feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or paralyzed by the sheer complexity of it all? How many times do we wish we could just cut through the noise, stop second-guessing ourselves, and feel confident in our judgment? Decision-making has become more than just a skill. It's an art form. The modern world bombards us with information, distractions, and endless possibilities. The pressure to choose wisely has never been greater, and with each new decision, the potential consequences multiply. This is where the power of clear thinking comes in, sharpening our ability to see through confusion, to approach problems with clarity, and to navigate uncertainty with poise. To make better decisions, it's not enough to rely on gut instincts or hasty conclusions. The key lies in understanding how we think, how we process information, and how we can refine our decision-making process to make choices that align with our values, goals, and long-term vision. It's about cultivating a mindset that isn't just reactive, but proactive, where every decision is a step towards the life we want to create. In this journey, we will uncover the principles, frameworks, and insights that lead to effective decision-making. This is not just about avoiding mistakes, but about actively improving how we approach the complexity of life itself. The clearer we think, the better we decide. And the better we decide, the more empowered we become in shaping our future. Chapter 1. The Nature of Complexity. In every decision, we are often confronted with layers of complexity, each one adding weight, creating tension, and demanding more of our mental bandwidth. Life today is unlike anything humanity has ever faced before. The world is not a simple place anymore, nor are our decisions. What was once a straightforward choice between two options is now often a maze of multiple considerations, each with its own set of consequences. Complexity doesn't just exist in our external circumstances. It shapes the very way we think, act, and react. The choices we face are not isolated. They are intertwined with a web of interconnected factors. One decision, no matter how small it seems, can set off a ripple effect that impacts other parts of our life in ways we might not fully understand at the time. Our professional goals are no longer separate from our personal lives. Financial decisions affect our emotional well-being. The choices we make about time, relationships, and energy all come with varying degrees of uncertainty, risk, and long-term repercussions. The complexity we face can make the process of decision-making feel more like a labyrinth than a clear path. As the options multiply, so do the stakes. What might seem like a simple decision, whether to invest in a new opportunity or change your career path, often comes with a plethora of unknowns. The problem with complexity is that it is deceptive. It lures us into thinking that we are more informed than we really are. It presents us with a multitude of facts, opinions, and possibilities. But this abundance of information often leaves us paralyzed rather than empowered. The more we know, the harder it becomes to decide. But complexity is not just an obstacle. It is also an opportunity. The challenge lies not in avoiding complexity, but in learning how to navigate it with clarity and intention. When we understand that every decision we make exists within a matrix of interconnected variables, we can begin to see beyond the immediate chaos. We can develop a mindset that embraces complexity as an inevitable part of life, a catalyst for growth, rather than something to fear or shy away from. Navigating complexity requires more than just intellectual knowledge. It demands emotional and psychological resilience. The ability to sift through the noise and focus on what truly matters is at the heart of decision-making in today's world. It's not just about choosing between options. It's about understanding the broader picture, recognizing patterns, and making choices that align with our core values, long-term vision, and personal purpose. By developing a deeper awareness of the nature of complexity, we begin to unlock the tools we need to thrive amidst uncertainty and make decisions that propel us forward. Chapter 2. Recognizing Biases and Assumptions. Our minds are not neutral instruments. They are shaped by years of experiences, social conditioning, and personal desires. These influences, often unseen, filter how we perceive the world, interpret events, and make decisions. Without even realizing it, we carry within us biases, subtle distortions that affect how we see situations, interpret information, and judge others. These biases can cause us to make choices that are far removed from what we would make if we were truly objective. In a world of infinite complexity, these hidden factors play a critical role in how we navigate decisions. Biases are not just individual quirks of perception. They are ingrained ways of thinking that stem from patterns we have internalized over time. Some biases come from cultural norms and societal expectations, while others arise from personal experiences. For instance, we may have a tendency to favor people who look like us, think like us, or share similar backgrounds, often without recognizing the root of that preference. It's not just about being good or bad. These biases exist in everyone, regardless of how we view ourselves. The challenge lies in recognizing them and understanding the way they subtly skew our thinking. At times, the biases we carry may seem innocuous, but when it comes to high-stakes decisions, whether in our personal lives or professional careers, the cost of these hidden influences can be significant. A simple preference for the familiar might lead us to overlook valuable opportunities or dismiss new perspectives that could be pivotal for growth. On a larger scale, biases can perpetuate systemic inequalities, skew political landscapes, and even warp the way we judge and value the potential of others. We are often so deeply rooted in our assumptions that we fail to see how they distort reality. Assumptions, too, play a critical role in the decisions we make. We often make assumptions about people, situations, or outcomes based on partial or outdated information. These mental shortcuts, while designed to save us time, can prevent us from fully understanding a situation or making the best possible decision. For example, when we assume that we know the outcome of a business venture based on a previous experience, we fail to account for unique variables that could alter the outcome. Similarly, when we assume we understand the motivations or intentions of others, we run the risk of misjudging their actions or missing important nuances in their behavior. Recognizing these biases and assumptions is not a process of self-blame or guilt. Rather, it is an act of awareness, a commitment to seeing the world and ourselves with greater clarity. It requires us to be vigilant in questioning not just the information we receive, but also the internal filters we apply to that information. By embracing this awareness, we free ourselves from the invisible forces that hold sway over our decisions, allowing us to approach situations with greater objectivity, curiosity, and openness. This shift in perspective leads to more informed choices, creating a more accurate and thoughtful approach to the complex world around us. Chapter 3. The Role of Emotional Intelligence. Emotions are often seen as irrational forces that disrupt our thinking and decision-making, yet they play an undeniable role in shaping our choices. The truth is that emotions are not just fleeting reactions. They are deeply connected to our beliefs, values, and past experiences. They influence how we process information, assess situations, and determine our actions. For instance, a sense of fear might cloud our judgment, leading us to shy away from opportunities, while excitement can push us to take risks that may not always serve our best interests. However, when managed well, emotions can enhance our decision-making, providing clarity and insight that logic alone may not be able to offer. A person's ability to recognize, understand, and manage their own emotions, and to understand the emotions of others, is what constitutes emotional intelligence. This awareness allows individuals to respond to situations thoughtfully, rather than react impulsively. Emotional intelligence becomes a powerful tool for better decision-making because it enables us to avoid rash decisions driven by unchecked emotional impulses. Instead, it helps us stay grounded and make choices that are aligned with our long-term goals and values. Emotional intelligence also plays a critical role in how we navigate social situations. Understanding the emotions of those around us fosters empathy, which can lead to more effective collaboration and healthier relationships. Leaders, for example, who are attuned to the emotional states of their teams, can provide support when morale is low and encouragement when challenges arise, making the team stronger and more resilient in the face of adversity. Being emotionally aware also allows for greater self-regulation. Instead of being governed by stress or frustration, individuals with high emotional intelligence are able to take a step back and assess a situation with greater objectivity. This ability to pause and reflect prevents decisions from being made in the heat of the moment, leading to better, more balanced outcomes. In essence, emotional intelligence is not about suppressing emotions or pretending that they don't matter. It's about using them as a guiding force, helping us stay connected to our deeper motivations and purpose, while also maintaining control over how we respond to the world around us. Chapter 4. Frameworks for Clear Thinking. In the whirlwind of daily choices, it's easy to fall into the trap of reacting rather than thinking critically. Decision-making often becomes an automatic process, one that doesn't necessarily lead us toward our best interests or the clearest path forward. To make better decisions, we need to develop frameworks for thinking that help us cut through complexity, organize our thoughts, and approach problems methodically. A framework for clear thinking acts as a mental map, guiding us through the maze of options and decisions. These frameworks help simplify complex scenarios and clarify the choices at hand by providing structure and order to our thinking process. One such framework is the pros and cons list, a simple but effective tool that forces us to consider both sides of a decision before making a choice. While this method may seem basic, it offers a tangible way to objectively evaluate the consequences of a decision, helping us avoid the trap of decision paralysis or hasty, emotionally driven choices. More advanced frameworks, like the 5 whys technique, push us to dig deeper into the root causes of problems, encouraging critical reflection and challenging assumptions. This method helps identify underlying patterns and prevents us from addressing only the symptoms of an issue. Similarly, using decision trees or cost-benefit analyses can break down complicated situations into clearer, more manageable parts, helping us make decisions based on logic rather than intuition or external pressure. The key to using these frameworks effectively is adaptability. No single framework works for every situation. Part of clear thinking involves knowing when to apply one method over another, depending on the context. The more tools we have at our disposal, the more flexible and effective we become in tackling diverse problems. Through regular practice, these frameworks can become second nature, transforming the way we approach decision-making, reducing ambiguity, and improving our ability to think critically and clearly under pressure. Chapter 5. The Power of Reflection and Self-Awareness. In the midst of life's fast pace, it's easy to overlook the power of reflection. Often we charge forward, making decisions based on what is immediately in front of us, without pausing to consider the deeper implications. However, taking time to reflect on our thoughts, actions, and experiences can lead to transformative insights that profoundly affect the quality of our decisions. Self-awareness is a cornerstone of this process. The more attuned we are to our own thoughts and emotions, the better we can recognize patterns in our behavior, understand our motivations, and become conscious of the biases that may be influencing our decisions. Through regular reflection, we gain a deeper understanding of how our past experiences shape the way we view the present and how our future actions might unfold. Reflection allows us to step back from our immediate circumstances and look at the bigger picture. In times of confusion or uncertainty, taking a break to reflect can provide clarity, revealing new perspectives or alternative courses of action. This practice of stepping outside of ourselves and observing our thoughts from a neutral stance cultivates mindfulness, which can be invaluable when faced with complex decisions. The power of reflection lies not only in the ability to gain insight, but also in its capacity to lead to change. When we examine our decisions and behaviors, we open the door to improvement. Mistakes and failures, often seen as setbacks, become opportunities for growth, as reflection helps us learn from them and adapt in the future. Chapter 6. Prioritizing what matters. In a world of endless distractions and competing demands, the ability to prioritize is crucial for effective decision-making. Every day, we are bombarded with choices, some of which feel urgent and others that appear to be of little consequence. Without a clear sense of what truly matters, it's easy to lose focus and waste energy on the wrong things. To prioritize effectively, it's essential to first understand what aligns with our long-term goals and values. It's not about reacting to every demand that comes our way, but rather about making deliberate choices that move us closer to our desired outcomes. For example, at work, there might be numerous tasks that feel pressing, but only a few truly contribute to the bigger vision we have for our career. Similarly, in our personal lives, we may be faced with multiple commitments, but the relationships and activities that nurture us emotionally and physically should always come first. Prioritization also involves learning to say no. Saying no to distractions or low-value tasks frees up time and mental energy for the things that matter most. This requires not only the discipline to focus, but also the courage to let go of things that may seem important, but are ultimately not aligned with our core priorities. In the face of competing demands, it is critical to assess what will have the most significant impact on your goals. By ruthlessly eliminating the non-essential, we can create space for what truly counts, ensuring that our decisions are intentional and aligned with our larger aspirations. Chapter 7. Evaluating risks and rewards. In every decision, there lies a balancing act between risk and reward. Whether we are considering a new job, investing in a venture, or simply making a change in our daily routine, the potential outcomes often come with their own set of risks and rewards. These forces are not always clear-cut, and recognizing their interplay is crucial for making well-informed choices. Risk is often seen as something to avoid, yet it is essential to understand that without risk, there is no opportunity. Taking risks is inherent to progress and growth, but that does not mean recklessly jumping into uncertainty. Instead, the key is learning to assess the potential risks accurately, weighing them against the rewards that might follow. It is important to ask, what do we stand to gain, and what are we willing to lose? The first step in evaluating risk and reward is to acknowledge the uncertainty inherent in all decisions. The more complex the decision, the greater the unknowns. This recognition frees us from the paralysis of trying to eliminate all risk. Instead of fearing uncertainty, we learn to embrace it as part of the process and focus on making decisions that minimize unnecessary risks while maximizing the potential benefits. One effective way to assess risks is through a framework that breaks down the various factors at play. It involves asking questions like, what are the possible positive and negative outcomes? How likely are these outcomes? What are the consequences of failure, and can they be mitigated? Additionally, it's crucial to consider the time frame involved. Some risks may offer immediate rewards, but others may require patience and long-term commitment before the full benefits are realized. Another essential aspect is to consider the opportunity cost, the value of what is foregone when choosing one option over another. Sometimes the reward may not just be the immediate gain from a decision, but the potential lost opportunities from not pursuing alternative paths. This is why evaluating risks and rewards is not just about comparing numbers or outcomes, but about considering the bigger picture and how different decisions affect our overall goals. Moreover, emotions can cloud our judgment in risk assessment. Fear can lead to risk aversion, causing us to miss out on potentially beneficial opportunities, while overconfidence can lead to hasty decisions without fully considering the consequences. Recognizing these emotional biases is critical in making balanced decisions. An essential part of this process is to assess the alignment between the risk at hand and one's personal values or larger objectives. The rewards of a decision may seem appealing, but if the risk contradicts our values or long-term purpose, the decision may not be worth pursuing, no matter how attractive the potential outcome seems. Ultimately, assessing risks and rewards is about understanding the full landscape of a decision, embracing uncertainty, and aligning choices with your goals and values. It requires thoughtful consideration of the trade-offs, an awareness of personal biases, and the courage to move forward despite the unknowns. Each decision made in this way brings you closer to not only making better choices, but also living a life that reflects your deeper intentions. Chapter 8. The Influence of Information and Misinformation. In today's world, we are inundated with a constant flow of information. Every day, we encounter countless data points, articles, news stories, opinions, and expert analyses, all competing for our attention. Yet among this sea of information, not all of it holds value. A significant portion can be misleading, incomplete, or simply irrelevant. Learning to sift through the noise and distinguish between what is truly beneficial and what is nothing more than distraction is a critical skill in the decision-making process. The first step in navigating this vast ocean of information is understanding the nature of misinformation. It's important to recognize that misinformation is not always intentional. Often, it arises from misunderstanding, oversimplification, or miscommunication. Sometimes, it is rooted in the desire to appeal to an audience's biases or to confirm pre-existing beliefs, which can distort the facts. This is why the capacity to question and scrutinize the sources of information becomes vital. The real challenge is not just identifying misinformation, but also recognizing when the information we are receiving may not be as reliable as we believe. One of the most common sources of misinformation is the overabundance of opinions. Opinions are subjective, shaped by individual perspectives, backgrounds, and agendas. They can be valuable when combined with factual data, but they should not be treated as indisputable truths. It is crucial to approach opinions with a critical mind, asking, what is the source of this opinion? What expertise or experience does the individual have in this area? Are there other, equally valid viewpoints that deserve consideration? In the absence of these critical considerations, opinions can easily become misleading, especially when they are presented as absolute truths. In a world where sound bites and attention-grabbing headlines dominate, it's easy to become enamored with information that feels immediate, compelling, or sensational. Yet the most valuable knowledge often requires time to understand, verify, and reflect upon. Rushing to absorb and act on information without proper analysis can result in decisions based on incomplete or false data. The key is to develop the ability to slow down and examine the context in which information is presented, considering the motivations behind it and the broader implications. Effective decision-making requires a deliberate effort to seek out credible sources, cross-check facts, and understand the full scope of an issue. This doesn't mean dismissing all new or differing viewpoints. Rather, it's about approaching them with the intention to evaluate them based on evidence and logical reasoning. It also involves recognizing our own biases and tendencies to accept information that aligns with what we already believe, even when the evidence doesn't support it. This self-awareness is crucial in navigating a world where information is often skewed to fit certain narratives or interests. Another aspect of information evaluation is understanding the dynamics of confirmation bias, the tendency to seek out information that supports our existing beliefs and reject information that contradicts them. This can create echo chambers, where we are only exposed to one side of an argument or perspective. In the face of such biases, it is necessary to actively seek opposing views and challenge our own assumptions. Only through this willingness to confront uncomfortable truths can we refine our understanding and make decisions that are more aligned with reality rather than our own preconceived notions. In addition to evaluating the source and accuracy of information, we must also learn to separate short-term noise from long-term value. In a world driven by rapid cycles of information, it's easy to get swept up in trends, headlines, and viral content. However, lasting knowledge comes from the ability to filter out transient information and focus on principles and insights that stand the test of time. Building this discernment requires practice and patience, but it is essential for creating a clear mental framework upon which to base sound decisions. Ultimately, the power of knowledge lies not just in the amount of information we acquire, but in our ability to understand, analyze, and apply it effectively. In a world of noise and confusion, the true value of information is in its quality, relevance, and alignment with our goals and values. Only by developing a keen sense of discernment can we avoid being overwhelmed by the noise and use information as a tool to navigate the complexities of life with clarity and purpose. And Chapter 9. Leveraging Creativity for Innovative Solutions. In a world defined by constant change, the ability to think creatively is more than a luxury. It is a necessity. Innovation doesn't always arise from the most complex or technical strategies. Often, it stems from the willingness to step outside conventional boundaries and look at problems from a fresh perspective. Creativity, in its essence, is about breaking free from established patterns of thought and embracing the unknown, the unusual, and the unexplored. It is in these spaces where true solutions are often found, not merely as alternatives to the old, but as advancements into the future. The first step in harnessing creativity for problem solving is the willingness to embrace uncertainty. Many people, especially in environments that value structure and predictability, find the unknown intimidating. Yet it is within this unknown territory where the seeds of innovation are often planted. Creativity thrives in environments where rigid rules do not stifle exploration, where asking "what if" is encouraged rather than dismissed. This mental freedom allows individuals to step away from traditional assumptions and unlock new possibilities that others may overlook simply because they are not afraid to venture into uncharted territory. Creative thinking often begins with reframing the problem itself. By shifting the lens through which we view a challenge, we open ourselves up to entirely different solutions. It's easy to become entrenched in the way things have always been done, especially when past solutions have been effective in the short term. However, when we challenge the framework of the problem, questioning its underlying assumptions, or considering it from the perspective of someone completely outside of our field, the answers we find can be dramatically different. This reframing process allows for breakthroughs that are not only more innovative, but also more impactful in the long run. In addition to reframing, creativity is fueled by diversity of thought. When we limit ourselves to a narrow set of influences, we restrict our ability to see solutions that lie beyond the obvious. Exposure to diverse ideas, whether through collaboration, learning from different disciplines, or simply engaging with people from various walks of life, broadens the range of possible solutions we can generate. It's often in these cross-pollinations of knowledge and experience that the most innovative ideas are born. The most successful problem solvers are those who actively seek out perspectives that challenge their own, allowing for new angles to emerge naturally. The role of failure in creative thinking cannot be overstated. Creativity is often seen as the pursuit of perfect ideas, but in reality, it thrives in an environment where failure is not feared, but embraced as a stepping stone. Each failed attempt offers insight into what does not work, providing critical feedback for refining ideas and strategies. The willingness to fail and fail again builds resilience and perseverance, which are essential for creative breakthroughs. It is through repeated trial and error that our most profound insights arise, gradually taking shape into something that not only works, but also exceeds our expectations. Another critical aspect of creativity is the discipline of focus. While creativity requires freedom, it also needs direction. The mere act of thinking outside the box is not enough. It must be channeled in a way that brings real value. Focus allows us to hone in on the solutions that matter most, ensuring that our creative energies are spent on ideas that will make the greatest impact. This means carefully considering which problems are worth solving and which solutions are worth pursuing. Without this focus, creativity can become scattered and ineffective, leading to a collection of ideas without real-world application. Creativity also requires patience. The most groundbreaking ideas rarely emerge fully formed. They evolve over time, with multiple iterations and refinements. It is easy to become discouraged when the perfect solution does not appear immediately, but creativity is a process, not an event. Those who excel in creative problem-solving understand that the path to innovation is rarely straightforward. They stay committed to the journey, trusting that their efforts will lead them to an effective solution, even if that solution takes longer to materialize than initially expected. At its core, creativity is about breaking the rules to create something better. It is about looking beyond the constraints of the present and imagining what could be possible in a different reality. But this requires courage. The courage to question the status quo, the courage to take risks, and the courage to act on ideas that others may dismiss as impractical or wild. This is the essence of innovation, not merely thinking differently, but thinking boldly, with the resolve to push forward despite the uncertainty. In the end, creativity is a skill, one that can be nurtured, developed, and strengthened with intentional practice. It is not a gift reserved for a select few, but a process available to anyone willing to embrace it. By cultivating an open mind, challenging conventional wisdom, seeking diverse perspectives, learning from failure, and maintaining focus and patience, we can leverage creativity to find innovative solutions that not only solve today's problems, but also shape tomorrow's future. Chapter 10. Making difficult choices. The weight of making difficult decisions often stems from the fear of making the wrong one. These moments, where every choice seems to carry significant consequences, can paralyze even the most decisive individuals. But in these moments of high stakes, the ability to make clear, confident decisions is not just important, it is essential. The art of making difficult choices is not defined by having the perfect answer, but by understanding how to navigate complexity and uncertainty with purpose. One of the first steps in facing tough decisions is to acknowledge the emotions that naturally accompany them. Fear, anxiety, and self-doubt often arise when stakes are high. Rather than trying to suppress these feelings, it is essential to observe and understand them. These emotions, while uncomfortable, can provide valuable insights into what matters most to us, highlighting what we stand to gain or lose. When we give ourselves permission to feel them without letting them dominate our thoughts, we free ourselves from the grip of emotional turbulence. This clarity allows us to approach the decision-making process with a more balanced mindset. It is also vital to step back and gain perspective. In the heat of the moment, it can be tempting to rush towards a decision, seeking immediate resolution to alleviate discomfort. However, quick decisions often overlook critical nuances. Taking a moment to pause, even for a few minutes, can help us regain composure and view the situation more objectively. Often, it is not the decision itself that is overwhelming, but the anxiety surrounding it. A brief pause helps us clear the fog of emotion and focus on what truly matters, creating the space to choose with more clarity. Another key aspect of making tough choices is distinguishing between what is urgent and what is truly important. In times of crisis, our instinct might be to address every immediate concern, fearing that neglecting something will lead to failure. But this approach can leave us scattered and unfocused, trying to manage too many things at once. Instead, we must take a step back and prioritize. What are the most crucial factors that will shape the outcome? What are the long-term consequences of each option? By answering these questions, we can align our decision-making with what will have the greatest impact, rather than getting lost in the noise of competing priorities. Making a difficult choice also requires an awareness of our values. Our core beliefs and principles serve as a compass, guiding us toward decisions that align with our true selves. In moments of uncertainty, We often face a conflict between external expectations and internal desires. However, when we are anchored in our values, we are less likely to be swayed by external pressures. The clarity that comes from aligning choices with our deeper purpose can often provide the courage needed to choose a path that may seem less conventional or more challenging. While it is important to take a measured approach, decisiveness remains a crucial element in making difficult choices. The longer we delay decisions, the more the weight of indecision compounds, adding stress and confusion to an already complex situation. Procrastination can become a trap, leaving us stuck in a cycle of overthinking and second-guessing. At some point, it is necessary to take action. This does not mean rushing, but rather recognizing that waiting for perfect information or ideal conditions is often futile. Confidence comes from acting, even when the full picture is not clear, trusting that we will adapt as new information arises. In making tough decisions, one must also be prepared to embrace uncertainty. Many decisions involve a level of unpredictability, where outcomes are not guaranteed. The fear of the unknown can deter us from moving forward, but avoiding decisions altogether only prolongs the discomfort. Instead, acknowledging that uncertainty is a natural part of life allows us to make choices without being paralyzed by it. The key is not to expect certainty, but to move forward with the knowledge that we will learn and adjust along the way. Moreover, it is crucial to learn from past experiences, especially failures. Making difficult decisions involves risk, and risk often leads to failure. However, each failure carries with it an invaluable lesson. By reflecting on previous decisions, what worked and what didn't, we develop a sharper intuition for navigating future challenges. This iterative learning process strengthens our decision-making ability, allowing us to approach high-stakes situations with a greater sense of calm and confidence. Sometimes, involving others in the decision-making process can provide clarity, especially when we are facing uncertainty or conflict. Engaging with trusted advisors, mentors, or colleagues can provide a fresh perspective, highlighting aspects we may have missed. While we must ultimately be responsible for our own choices, seeking counsel can help ensure that our decisions are well-rounded and considered. Collaboration not only mitigates our blind spots, but also fosters a sense of collective wisdom that can illuminate paths we might not have considered on our own. At its core, the process of making difficult decisions is not about seeking the perfect choice, but about aligning with our inner strength and clarity. Every decision, particularly the tough ones, is an opportunity to build confidence in our judgment, resilience in our spirit, and alignment with our purpose. The ability to face uncertainty, manage emotions, and trust in our values is what allows us to make decisions not just with clarity, but with courage. And in doing so, we step into a future shaped by our own choices, confident in our ability to navigate complexity and create the outcomes we desire. Chapter 11. The Impact of Decision-Making on Relationships. Every decision we make ripples outward, touching not just our own lives but the lives of those around us. While much of decision-making is often seen as a personal endeavor, it is impossible to ignore the broader implications of our choices on relationships, whether those are with friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers. The decisions we make, no matter how small, influence the dynamics we share with others, shaping trust, communication, and the overall quality of our connections. When we choose to act with integrity, the effects are often profound. Integrity is not just a personal virtue. It is a cornerstone for building lasting, authentic relationships. When our decisions align with our values, we cultivate trust, the bedrock upon which healthy relationships are built. Trust is nurtured when we are consistent in our actions and words, making choices that are transparent and aligned with the best interests of those involved. However, when we act out of convenience, self-interest, or deceit, the resulting choices can erode trust, leaving us with fractured relationships that are difficult to repair. Our decisions also influence the way others perceive us. People often look to the choices we make as indicators of who we are. Whether it's choosing to support a friend in need, standing up for someone when it's uncomfortable, or being honest in a difficult conversation, these choices reflect our character and shape how others see us. The more we make decisions that reflect our true self, the more others are able to connect with the authentic version of us, which strengthens the bonds of mutual respect and understanding. The impact of decision-making extends beyond the immediate consequences. It reverberates through the emotional climate of a relationship. When we make decisions that prioritize the well-being of others, we send a message of care and empathy, which deepens emotional connections. Conversely, choices that dismiss or disregard the feelings of others can create emotional distance, fostering resentment and frustration. These emotional undercurrents can subtly shift the dynamics of a relationship, making it harder to navigate conflicts or misunderstandings in the future. Therefore, the emotional impact of our choices is not just a side effect, it is central to the health of our connections. An often overlooked aspect of decision-making in relationships is the need to balance our own needs with the needs of others. At times, we are called to make choices that serve our own interests, and at other times, the decision must be about what is best for the collective. Striking this balance requires self-awareness and empathy. It involves asking not just, "What do I want?" but, "What does the other person need? And how can we both benefit?" This mutual consideration is key to making choices that honor both parties, preventing feelings of neglect or resentment from taking root. Decision-making in relationships also involves the ability to navigate conflict. Every relationship, no matter how harmonious, will experience moments of disagreement or tension. The way we respond to these moments, and the decisions we make in the heat of those moments, determines the trajectory of the relationship. Reacting impulsively or defensively can escalate conflicts, while choosing to pause, listen, and understand can transform a potential rift into an opportunity for growth. How we handle disagreements shows the depth of our commitment to the relationship and reflects the strength of our decision-making under pressure. Forgiveness is another area where decision-making plays a pivotal role. It is easy to hold on to past hurts, especially when the wounds are deep, but the decision to forgive is one of the most powerful choices we can make in a relationship. Forgiveness is not about excusing wrongs or forgetting the past. It is about choosing to release the emotional burden and move forward with a renewed sense of understanding and compassion. Making this decision requires a certain level of emotional intelligence and maturity, but it is often the key to healing fractured relationships. In professional relationships, decision-making often involves balancing personal goals with the collective success of the group or organization. How we make decisions within a team, for example, can either foster collaboration or breed division. Decisions based on mutual benefit and respect tend to strengthen team dynamics, while those made in isolation or self-interest can undermine group cohesion. Successful leaders understand that their choices must take into account not only the desired outcomes, but the people involved in the process. By considering the perspectives, strengths, and needs of others, leaders can make decisions that align the group toward a common vision, creating an environment where everyone can thrive. The same principles apply to friendships and familial relationships. A decision made without considering the feelings and perspectives of others can create rifts that are difficult to mend. Conversely, decisions made with a deep understanding of the people involved can strengthen bonds and build lasting trust. In the context of family, where dynamics can be complex and emotions often run high, every decision carries weight. The choice to show up, to communicate openly, or to offer support can transform a relationship, making it more resilient and fulfilling. In romantic relationships, decision-making is even more intimate and impactful. The choices we make can either deepen affection and connection or sow seeds of doubt and insecurity. From the small, everyday decisions, such as how we spend our time together or how we communicate, to the larger ones, such as committing to long-term plans or navigating life's challenges together, Every decision plays a role in shaping the relationship. It is not just the outcomes of our choices that matter, but the way we make them, with an awareness of the impact on the shared future of the relationship. Ultimately, the decisions we make in relationships reflect our priorities and values. They shape the depth of our connections, determine the level of trust and respect we share with others, and influence the overall emotional quality of our interactions. By making choices that reflect empathy, integrity, and consideration for the well-being of others, we create a foundation for strong, lasting relationships that can weather the complexities of life. The power of decision-making in relationships lies in its ability to either build or dismantle, to heal or to harm, and in recognizing that every choice contributes to the intricate web of connections that define our personal and professional lives. Chapter 12. Learning from experience and mistakes. In life, mistakes are not only inevitable, they are also essential. Yet, the real challenge lies not in avoiding mistakes, but in how we approach them when they occur. Often, we are quick to judge our failures, believing they define us or signify our inability to succeed. But this perspective is limiting. In truth, setbacks, if viewed with the right mindset, are invaluable opportunities for growth. Each misstep provides a lesson, a piece of wisdom that equips us to make better decisions moving forward. The first step in transforming a mistake into a lesson is acknowledging it. We tend to shy away from our errors, perhaps out of fear, shame, or discomfort. Denial or avoidance, however, only prolongs the learning process. It is through honest reflection that we uncover the deeper insights hidden within each mistake. When we confront our missteps directly, without self-criticism or blame, we begin to unravel the thought processes, assumptions, and choices that led to the outcome. Understanding the root cause of a mistake is often more illuminating than simply knowing what went wrong. Beyond understanding the cause, we must be willing to embrace discomfort. Growth rarely happens in the absence of struggle. When we fail, we often experience emotions such as frustration, disappointment, or regret. These emotions, though painful, can become powerful motivators for change. It is only when we allow ourselves to feel and process these emotions that we can move past them and use them as fuel for improvement. Rather than allowing the feelings of failure to paralyze us, we should allow them to sharpen our focus and re-energize our efforts. Once we've examined the cause and emotional impact of a mistake, the next step is to recalibrate our approach. Every mistake carries within it a nugget of knowledge about how we can do things differently next time. This requires us to step outside of our usual thinking patterns and ask ourselves critical questions. What could I have done differently? How can I apply this lesson in the future? What does this teach me about my approach to decision-making? By reframing mistakes as experiments, each one offering data about what works and what doesn't, we start to cultivate a mindset that sees value in every experience, even the challenging ones. Another essential aspect of learning from mistakes is the ability to share and communicate the lessons we've gained. Often we feel isolated in our failures, as though we are the only ones who have encountered such difficulties. But when we open up about our setbacks and the lessons they have taught us, we not only free ourselves from the weight of isolation, but we also contribute to the collective wisdom of others. Our experiences, shared with others, can help prevent them from making similar errors, or offer them strategies for navigating their own setbacks. There is profound strength in vulnerability, and when we view our mistakes not as personal shortcomings, but as shared human experiences, we cultivate a deeper sense of connection with those around us. It's also important to remember that learning from mistakes is an ongoing process. The lessons we gain from one mistake may only be part of a larger picture. As we move through life, we'll encounter new challenges, each one providing more opportunities to refine our approach. The key is to remain open to learning and to view each decision, whether it leads to success or failure, as part of an ongoing journey of improvement. The accumulation of small lessons over time often leads to significant personal growth, gradually reshaping our decision-making processes and overall perspective on life. Equally important is the idea of resilience. Mistakes can often feel like a setback, but they are frequently the very experiences that build our resilience. When we face challenges head-on and work through them, we develop a deeper sense of perseverance. This resilience doesn't simply come from avoiding mistakes or suffering through them. It comes from the determination to keep going, learning, and adjusting. The ability to rise after falling, to take what we've learned and apply it in new situations, is what makes us stronger, both in decision-making and in life itself. Mistakes also help clarify our values and priorities. Sometimes, when we make a poor decision, we are forced to reconsider what truly matters. In the aftermath of a mistake, we may find ourselves reevaluating our goals, rethinking what success means, and reasserting what is most important to us. This deeper self-awareness is one of the most valuable outcomes of our errors. By recalibrating our values, we set a new course that is more aligned with our authentic self, allowing us to make more informed, thoughtful choices in the future. In relationships, mistakes can be powerful opportunities to strengthen bonds. Whether it's a misunderstanding with a friend, a conflict with a partner, or a professional misstep, how we handle mistakes in relationships often determines the strength and longevity of those connections. When we take responsibility for our actions, apologize sincerely, and seek to make amends, we not only heal the wounds caused by our mistakes, but also demonstrate maturity, humility, and a commitment to the relationship. These moments of vulnerability, when handled with care and accountability, often lead to deeper, more meaningful connections. In professional environments, the lessons gained from mistakes often lay the foundation for innovation and progress. Great leaders and successful entrepreneurs understand that failure is an integral part of growth. The most groundbreaking ideas and advancements often arise from previous mistakes or misjudgments. It is the willingness to learn from what didn't work and to continue experimenting, iterating, and improving that leads to true success. Mistakes in the workplace, when approached constructively, can foster a culture of creativity and continuous improvement. Ultimately, the process of learning from experience and mistakes is one of constant evolution. It involves shifting our perspective from seeing errors as burdens to viewing them as opportunities. Each mistake, when approached with the right mindset, provides valuable insights that help refine our decision-making, build resilience, clarify our values, and deepen our connections with others. The more we embrace our mistakes with humility, curiosity, and determination, the more we empower ourselves to make wiser, more informed decisions in the future. In this way, mistakes cease to be failures. They become stepping stones toward greater wisdom and success. Chapter 13. Building a decision-making habit. The ability to make clear and effective decisions is not a skill that is developed overnight, nor is it an innate trait reserved for a select few. It is something that is cultivated over time through consistent practice and intentional habit building. Just like any other skill, the process of refining decision-making abilities requires patience, effort, and an unwavering commitment to improvement. The key to mastery lies in integrating clear thinking into your daily life, creating a decision-making habit that can be relied upon in both ordinary and high-stakes situations. The first step in building a decision-making habit is to establish a consistent routine that encourages deliberate thought. In the rush of daily life, it is easy to make snap judgments or to fall into autopilot, reacting without considering all the variables. By setting aside specific time each day for reflection, you begin to train your mind to slow down and assess situations with greater clarity. This time can be as simple as a few moments each morning to outline your goals, clarify your priorities, and anticipate the decisions you will need to make throughout the day. By consciously creating a space for thoughtful deliberation, you set the stage for clearer, more confident decisions. Next, it's important to reflect regularly on past decisions, both the ones that led to success and those that didn't. This process of reflection should not be one of self-criticism, but rather of objective analysis. What factors influenced your decision-making? What assumptions were made, and how did they shape your choices? How did your emotions play a role, and how might the situation have unfolded differently if you had approached it from a different angle? Reflection allows you to identify patterns in your thinking, uncover biases that may have influenced your choices, and make adjustments for the future. It is only through this continual process of assessment that you begin to understand the intricacies of your decision-making process and refine it over time. A decision-making habit also involves learning to trust yourself and your instincts. At the heart of every decision lies the question, what do I believe is the right course of action? In the early stages of building this habit, you may second-guess yourself, unsure of whether your thoughts are clear or if you're making the right choice. However, as you practice making decisions more consciously, you begin to build confidence in your judgment. This is not about making decisions based on fleeting emotions or impulses, but rather trusting that, with practice, your ability to assess situations will improve and that your judgment will become sharper. Building this trust in yourself requires acknowledging that no decision is perfect and mistakes will happen, but that's part of the process. Trusting yourself enough to make decisions, even with uncertainty, is crucial for growth. Another essential component of developing a decision-making habit is the ability to evaluate your environment and the influences around you. The people you surround yourself with, the media you consume, and the conversations you engage in all play a role in shaping your thought processes. Creating an environment conducive to clear thinking means being intentional about the information you expose yourself to and the perspectives you allow to influence your decisions. If your environment is cluttered with distractions or filled with negativity, it can be difficult to maintain focus and clarity. On the other hand, when you intentionally seek out positive influences, constructive feedback, and new perspectives, you can enhance your decision-making abilities and broaden your understanding of the options available to you. As you continue to practice decision-making, it's vital to integrate a sense of accountability into the process. Making decisions without a system of checks and balances can lead to hasty or careless choices. By holding yourself accountable, you ensure that each decision is given the attention it deserves. This accountability may take different forms. It could be as simple as writing down your decision-making criteria for each situation, or as complex as setting up regular check-ins with a mentor or trusted colleague. Having someone to hold you accountable ensures that you approach each decision with intention and awareness, and that you reflect on the outcomes in a constructive way. In this way, accountability serves as a safeguard, preventing shortcuts and reinforcing your commitment to making thoughtful decisions. Building a decision-making habit also requires embracing flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how carefully you plan or analyze a situation, outcomes will sometimes deviate from expectations. The habit of clear thinking is not about rigidly adhering to a set of rules, but about cultivating the ability to adapt and pivot when necessary. This flexibility allows you to assess new information, consider changing circumstances, and recalibrate your decisions accordingly. It is the dynamic balance between structure and flexibility that makes a decision-making habit effective. The more you practice this balance, the more adept you become at navigating uncertainty with confidence and poise. In addition, developing a decision-making habit requires continuous learning. There is no endpoint to the journey of becoming a better decision-maker. Rather, it is a lifelong pursuit. With each decision, you are presented with new challenges and new opportunities for growth. It is important to stay open to new ideas, techniques, and frameworks that can enhance your decision-making process. By seeking out feedback, studying the choices of others, and remaining curious about how to improve, you create a mindset that thrives on constant growth. The more you learn, the better equipped you are to face future decisions with greater insight and wisdom. Ultimately, building a decision-making habit is about turning thoughtful reflection, self-trust, and continuous improvement into a daily practice. The more you integrate these elements into your life, the more natural the process of clear thinking becomes. With time, what once required effort and conscious intent will evolve into an automatic and effortless part of your decision-making process. Through this sustained practice, you will develop the ability to navigate the complexities of life with greater confidence, clarity, and purpose, ensuring that every decision you make contributes to your long-term success and personal fulfillment. Conclusion. In a world where decisions shape the course of our lives, developing the ability to think clearly is more than a skill. It is a fundamental way of navigating the complexities that surround us. From the simplest daily choices to the most consequential life-altering decisions, the clarity with which we approach these moments determines not only our outcomes, but also the direction in which we grow. Throughout this book, we have explored the layers of decision-making, from understanding the impact of complexity to building the habits that support clear, informed choices. The process of cultivating clear thinking is not a destination but a journey, one that requires intentional practice, constant reflection, and the courage to learn from both successes and mistakes. Every decision we make is an opportunity to refine our approach, challenge our biases, and deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. It is through this continual process of growth that we become more adept at handling the uncertainties of life, making choices with purpose and embracing the complexity that inevitably arises. As we conclude, remember that the essence of decision-making lies not in the pursuit of perfection, but in the commitment to clarity and thoughtful action. By honing our ability to evaluate, reflect, and adapt, we transform each decision into a stepping stone toward a more intentional, meaningful life. The challenges and uncertainties you face today are not obstacles to be feared, but opportunities to practice the art of clear thinking. As you move forward, embrace the responsibility that comes with decision-making, for it is within these moments that your true potential unfolds. Through consistency, patience, and a relentless commitment to growth, you will find yourself navigating the complexities of life with greater ease and confidence, shaping the future you desire with each choice you make.